Hey, I'm Hunt, and this is Hunt on LSU, your channel for LSU Fighting Tiger football talk. Enjoy the video. We want you to leave a comment below, hit that like button, and subscribe right below the video. Enjoy. We're inching ever closer to LSU and USC from out in Las Vegas. Sunday night can't come soon enough. Tigers and Trojans kicking off the 2024 season. Year 3 for Brian Kelly and Lincoln Riley, and a big year for both programs. Covering the Trojans for Locked On USC is Mark Culkin. He's out in L.A. Good enough to give us a few minutes. Mark, thanks so much for the time. How are you?
I'm great. How are you doing today, Hunt?
We're doing quite well. We're trying to get to the weekend to watch some football. We'll get there one way or another. I'm curious, obviously a huge year down here in Baton Rouge for Brian Kelly in year 3 and a lot to replace. A lot of the same narratives in L.A. No, it's a big year for Lincoln Riley, and they've got a lot to replace, but there's a lot of excitement, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, you could hold up a mirror to both teams, and if you didn't know who was wearing which helmet, you could say they're staring at each other. The similarities are uncanny as far as both replacing their Heisman-winning quarterbacks, both are replacing their leading wide receivers. Both teams have question marks on the defensive side of the ball. Both programs replace their defensive coordinators. So, yeah, should be a lot of fun this Sunday.
Let's start on the SC defense. What were the steps that were taken to try to correct what was an awful unit last year?
First step is admitting you have a problem, and that was Lincoln Riley admitted he had a problem, and he had to get rid of Alex Grinch. So during the offseason, they went out, and I'm using Coach Lincoln Riley's words, a defensive staff that is second to no one. He went out and hired away Danton Lynn from UCLA. In 1 year, Coach Lynn took UCLA's really poor defense, transformed it into the 11th best overall defense in the country, and the number 2 rushing defense. And he did that in 1 year. So we're hoping out here in L.A. that he can have a similar effect across town. Now, backing up Danton Lynn, you have Eric Henderson, defensive line coach. Coach Riley was able to convince the head coach at North Dakota State to put your 2 national championships in your back pocket, come be my linebacker coach. And then as well, we think he updated, he updated the secondary with Doug Belk as the new defensive backs coach. So a lot of changes. That was the first thing. Put in the new scheme. Design the scheme around the players you have on your roster rather than trying to put a square peg into a round hole. So that's what we're looking forward to, is just seeing a team that knows how to be in position, knows how to tackle, and looks like a Division I football team playing defense.
Physically, is this USC unit talented enough to implement all the things that coaching staff wants to do? That's the question down here in Baton Rouge. I'm curious if it's the same in Southern California.
Physically, yes, they are. I mean, they're going to look the part when they step off the bus. They're going to have a bunch of guys that say, hey, you know what? That looks like an SEC type of player. We won't know until they get, hit in the face. That's just the bottom line. You could look the part, but if you look like Tarzan but play like Jane, what does that make? What does that matter?
Who are the top probably 2 impact players on this Southern California defense?
So the big name up front, I think everybody knows, is Bear Alexander. He's going to be the defensive tackle. He transferred over to USC from Georgia. In the middle, you also have at linebacker Easton Mascarenas-Arnold, who transferred over from Oregon State. He was all-conference selection in the Pac-12 last year. Another name to keep an eye on is at safety, actually both safety spots, Kamari Ramsey, who came over from UCLA, very familiar with the Stanford Lynn system, as well as all-conference safety Achille Arnold. The strength of USC's defense is definitely their secondary. There's no question about it. They're deep, they're long, they're veteran. In fact, Doug Belk said he plans to play 8 to 10 guys regularly in the rotation. At cornerback, they're long. I mean, everybody is 6'2" or longer. It's really an amazing group. But those are the key guys to kind of focus on the defensive side of the ball.
All right, let's flip to Lincoln Riley's baby. It doesn't matter who the quarterback's been over the last decade. He's put up a lot of yards and a lot of points. Now, obviously, you lose Caleb Williams, but Miller Moss steps in. Is the expectation that they don't really miss a beat?
Well, we watched the Holiday Bowl, and when Miller stepped in, it kind of looked like he was just the Heisman in waiting. I mean, it was 370 yards, 6 touchdown passes, and he was doing it mainly with freshman wide receivers. He still had Taj Washington out there helping him out, but yeah, when Lincoln Riley has a quarterback, and that quarterback has earned Riley's trust, you're always going to have a dog in the hunt, so to speak, to be a Heisman contender. And as you stated, Coach Riley knows how to coach the quarterbacks, and he knows how to get wide receivers open. So I think it's going to be I don't think you're going to see a significant drop-off, let's just put it that way. There's a big difference between Caleb Williams and Miller Moss athletically, but they play the position differently as well. Miller is much more your cerebral in the pocket. Hey, let's let's execute this play and not try and force anything. He's not going to extend plays with his feet like you would with Caleb Williams, or in LSU's case last year with Jaden Daniels.
I'm pretty upfront with my my listeners. My watching window for college football is Central Time, like 11 to 2, because I do a 2-hour pregame show for LSU. I watch LSU for 4 hours, and then I do a 2-hour postgame show. And things that go on during that time, I can't watch a ton of. So I haven't watched much of USC over the last 2 years. I'm curious, tempo-wise. I know that Lincoln Riley does like to spread and does like to throw it and will run the ball. Do they want to play fast?
Well, it's a really interesting question, Hunt, because this is something I've been discussing with some of my peers out here on the West Coast, is the new helmet communication device. How is that going to affect Coach Riley's play calling? Typically, they like to, use tempo. But is this, as they transition into this new system, is that going to slow the game down a little bit? You have a small sample size. We watched Georgia Tech versus Florida State last week, and I kind of got the sense that it was slowing the game down. So I'm interested to see how that plays out. To your question, to your actual point, Coach Riley likes to run tempo, and he will mix it up. If he can, get guys up at the line and just kind of run a 2-minute offense, yes, he can do that. If the offensive line is working and they're opening up holes in the run game, he can slow it down and create scoring drives that don't exist in the 2-minute world. They can create scoring drives that are 4 or 5 minutes long.
LSU secondary, I don't know if there are pros in that unit. There could be, and they might be really young, but I don't know. Usually we know the 3 guys in LSU secondary that are going to play in the NFL. I don't know who those guys are right now. Does USC have pros at wide receiver?
Well, as I mentioned, they have last year, the freshmen were the guys that Miller Moss became intimate with during the practice reps because, second-team reps, Miller Moss was second team. Those 4 guys now are sophomores. The names are Zachariah Branch, Deuce Robinson, Jacoby Lane, and Mekhi Lemon. All 4 of them are considered NFL-level wide receivers. Zachariah Branch is your slot guy. You can move him all over the field. We call him a human joystick. He also excels on special teams. He is a threat to return a punt or a kickoff return. Deuce Robinson was actually the number 1 tight end in the class of 2023. USC brought him in as a big wide receiver, 6'6", 220 pounds. You've got Jacoby Lane, 6'4", 200 pounds, 48-inch vertical, arms that when he extends them, they don't stop. And the Mekhi Lemon, the best way I can describe him is if you're familiar with Amon-Ra St. Brown, he is a clone of that style, and he's actually a little bit bigger. So to answer your question, yes, USC has NFL-level wide receivers that are going to test LSU secondary.
What do you think Lincoln Riley's biggest concern is on Sunday?
Oh, the defense, without a doubt. He needs to see how much of an improvement this team has made from the end of last season with the new staff, all the off-season work they put in with the weight gain, and are they ready to come out of the chute up against a team against like LSU, who historically is always going to have dudes on their roster. Again, these teams are so similar the way they mirror each other. Both were really bad on defense last year. Both have explosive offenses. So from Lincoln Riley's perspective, if his defense can get some stops, he's probably going to feel better as the game progresses. If the defense can't stop the run game and LSU's O-line can lean into them, wear them down by the fourth quarter, the concerns are going to keep going.
What kind of crowd do you think USC is going to bring to Vegas? It's drivable.
Well, I'll tell you what, the game's sold out. We know that, right?
Yep.
On 65,000 tickets. I think it's going to be pretty evenly split. Maybe USC 60-40 just because of proximity. But, LSU fans, they travel well. They enjoy Las Vegas. I'm looking forward to it. For me, this game has been 20 years in the making. I remember the split national championship. And, like I said, I've been waiting for this game for 20 years. Will it settle the score? No. But it's going to be fun for the fans.
It's going to be a blast. Yeah, no question about it. Safe travels to Las Vegas, and we'll talk on Sunday on the pregame show, Mark. We appreciate the time.
Look forward to it, Hunt. Thanks again.
He's Mark Culkin, locked on USC. If you're looking for your information on the Trojan side of things as we get ready, if you're traveling, need a lot to listen to, certainly we got you covered here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. But from the USC perspective, Mark does a fantastic job, and we appreciate a little bit of time. He's going to join me about an hour before the game on the pregame show, so looking forward to getting a scene setter there from Allegiant Stadium on Sunday. That's a look at the USC Trojans. Hey, thanks for watching Hunt on LSU. Before you get out of here, do us a couple of favors. Hit that like button. Leave your comments below and subscribe to the channel for all your Fighting Tiger football talk. See you next time.